Hey, this is Josh from Plugin Machine again. In this video, I'm going to show you like the basics of unit testing in WordPress. For plugins, this is applicable to anything PHP, I guess, but mainly like in the context of WordPress plugin development. So let me go ahead and share my screen and create a new plugin so I have something to play with. Like notes. And I'm just going to say, no, we're not going to PS here, composer and PHP tests on that. And then I'm just going to have to give it a namespace. And this was like notes. Add the PHP autoloader and unit test, but not the WordPress integration test. So there's an option where we can have tests that work real well with the with like WordPress core and MySQL. So we can test like how things save to the database for real. Different video. These are unit tests that don't run with anything else. They're going to be isolated. It's just limited usefulness, to be honest. If I'm working on a WordPress plugin, sometimes I don't do this type of testing. I just do integration and acceptance testing. So sometimes unit testing is useful. So it's just, but also we'd say unit testing and integration testing use the same thing, PHP unit, to actually run them. So the so like the skills that you're learning in terms of like learning how to write tests is kind of universal. Let's extract this. Open this up with code. So now we have a plugin. You don't have to figure out like how any of this works. Go here and hit composer install. It says in the docs. Close that out. Okay, let's look at. Oh shoot, I'm in the wrong directory. Okay, so those are install. These guys. Like there's the Docker compose file here, but I don't need that. Like this stuff is not WordPress related. It doesn't need MySQL, which again, limitation. So we have unit testing. It has configured here. This is a test case. It just shows that things are working. Like I set up the Yoast polyfills for you. And this just proves that the autoloader works. And that it's properly loaded by the test setup. And this shows like that the mock functions are set up so that we can fake things like WP insert post. I think this works, but it's totally contrived. So I'll get back to that in a second. Let's just go ahead and do composer test. Run these tests just to make sure. Like 3 tests, 5 assertions. Cool, like it works. Any file in this unit test directory that ends like the file name and the class name end in test will get run. So we can, like honestly, let's just copy this to make our lives easier. Rename products test. Like let's build a thing that collects WooCommerce products somehow. So here's the thing. You're probably saying like, oh, he's going to use like WooCommerce products. What about WooCommerce? If we were doing integration testing, I would just load WooCommerce and like use WooCommerce functions. But I can't. So we're going to use dependency injection. See how it works. First, let's make a class that we're actually testing. Is here namespace notes. Right. And so this method here, product, that's going to be in the global namespace. Right. So we can just if that works, except remember that WC product doesn't exist in the database. So as I recall, WC product, when we look in the code reference here, it has a public method ID, and it also has like get ID, right? So yeah, that's useful. So what am I going to do? I'm just going to make one up in my test case class. Like, I'm just going to start here. Like, this really helpful. Okay, so I'm going to make a mockup, and we can use these mocking frameworks, and I'll show you that later on in this video. But sometimes class WC product, it's in the global namespace, public. I'm just looking back at the docs to make sure that I get that right. It's lowercase. And I don't do that much WooCommerce stuff. And sort of. Okay, so it's all lowercase. And get ID. All right, I mean, it works because now I can do like it can be like products equals new products. Let's put this into scope, and then we can be like seven, and then we can be like products, add product. It's worth running at this point, even though we haven't done any assertions. Computer is slow when recording. And here it's been there. Right, cool. So didn't throw any errors. Like, that's useful information, but it's saying like we didn't actually do any tests. So really anything testable about this yet, but what if I had done like product get ID, get product, so we would expect, this is where we start doing our testing. We're just like this assert equals product get ID. These on the same line. This is what we expect. And then let's do something, the thing that we're testing. So it's like product, sorry, get product, this ID. Has the same ID. Clearly I made a mistake now. That's why this is helpful to me. It's gotta be in here somewhere. Yeah. Cool. So now they all pass. And then it would be helpful, like this is not particularly defensive coding here. So it's like public function has product. No, it's good. All right. We can go back and be like, let's change this to test add get product. So just so it's descriptive. And then let's start over here. Test as product. What we're going to do instead here is assert true. There's a ton of these assertions out there. And we're going to want to work with them to like, they're all fairly like set up your IDE for autocomplete, but they're all fairly easily named. Like assert array has key. You just pass in an array and the name of a key to make sure that there's like that key in the array. That's why we're going assert true has product. This is extra stuff there. That passes. It's important to do what we call happy path, sad path. So this is happy path. It works as expected. Like 7 did exist. But then the other thing that you're going to want to do is we do the same assertion. It's a little cleaner if we do it in 2, but then it different methods, but then there's a lot more setup. That's an argument for like creating factories and things like that, but this is a basic video. Has product 9. Right, like that was false. And then because we didn't have 9. And then the other thing that we can do there is we can say this expect exception. And then we do something that would throw an exception. So we do products get product 2, which doesn't exist. And then let's go back to get product and let's use that method that we now know works. You see, I'm using this to help me verify that I'm not making mistakes as I go. As product exception. Product not found. Great. And so let's run this test. So now I'm confused because I expected that all to work just without anything, everything literally throwing that exception. It'll make a lot of sense. So what we're going to do now is we're going to literally bypass this test because it's going to confuse us. This product not found, that doesn't, I did it on the wrong. See, that's the thing. I had exactly the right code, I put it in the wrong place. This caught it for me before I moved, assuming I hadn't done that wrong. That's why we use unit tests for this sort of thing. And then 21. Still not right. It'll be this. Yeah, so it needs the name of the exception here. Right, it said it needed too few arguments. And I just now remember it is that it needs the exception class. So both of these tests are now testing this happy and sad path. Like we're setting up a scenario where product with the ID of 7 exists. And then we're testing, can we get the right product? I like to write these kind of things like product 7, because later when I can't remember how the products class works, I'm going to open up tests and look for products test, or look for usages, like search for usages, and these tests will show up in my results. And I'm going to look at this and go, oh yeah, that's how it works. That's kind of the value of this. So right. And then the other thing that I can do is I can do these kind of tags and covers, and then we do notes products and products. Somebody's watching this video and they're like, Josh, this should be 3 different tests because you're covering 3 different methods and possibly 6 because of the happy path, sad path. Yeah, but I don't have really good factories. I don't want to keep cutting and pasting the same setup. And we'll just paste those down here for completeness, because that helps generate like coverage reports and helps it make it obvious where to go when this test fails. So that is cool. Let's go back to our environment test case for a second. One of the things this is doing for you when you use Plugin Machine to set up your plugin is it's setting up what's called Brain Monkey. And this is a really great open source tool for dealing with functions that don't exist. And I'll link to an article I wrote on, I think, Dev2 about like using this to test functions from core in unit tests where functions from core don't exist. And this is the example where we're telling it when WP insert post is called, before you throw an error because it's not defined, just return 1, like just be chill. So let's add a create method, right? Title. And then we're going to have to do turn WP insert post. I should probably use a WooCommerce API, but it's just easier to think this way. More generalizable, right? Product. Yeah, you got to open up the array before you type inside the array. And then post title. So we go back here, and we're like, oh yeah. It's a bad idea that was static. I don't know why that would be static. Because this would be like post product ID even. This and product. Getting dumb with whatever. That product ID setter isn't actually going to work. Break code like assigned to variables. So this now creates a new post of the post type product, and then puts the post object, the WC product class, into the collection. So I'm going to start writing this test here, knowing that it's going to fail. Products equals new products, and then products create. I wonder if that thing here is still actually running. Let's just get rid of that. Or if that's why the mock still worked. Yeah, okay, so check it out. There's no method WP insert post. So let's re-implement what we had here. Need to make sure that bring this in the scope, copying this here. And oh, we already had it. Great. And then we're going to set this up just like this. Let's actually just dump this class. I don't always do that. Sometimes I just leave it to prove that like these things work. And so that way, if I have a bug and like Composer updating dependencies, I can use those to diagnose the problem and fix the problem. But it's kind of in the way here. So what we're going to do is we're going to tell it just to return 42. And then we'll do assert true 42. Right? This, like, does it have the product that we told it to exist? And I think this is kind of like that tests the business logic here. Fine. But I don't really believe that this and all the other like actual business logic that you would graft onto this if it was a real plugin integrating with a real WooCommerce. I don't believe that you can really test beyond this kind of stuff without loading up WordPress. And that's integration testing. So that'll be another video. Thanks for watching this one. Like and subscribe for more videos. For example, one about integration testing coming soon. And you can go to pluginmachine.com to learn more about Plugin Machine and how it saves you from setting up all the things to like make this run in Docker locally or running it in GitHub Actions. So that way, every time you make a change, anybody makes a change, it runs the test. Thanks for watching. Bye.